Good evening, everyone, and welcome to A Conversation with AHIMA Fellows. My name is Chris Bell. I am the Director of Membership here at AHIMA. It is truly a pleasure to have you all with us today as we explore the incredible journey of our fellows and learn more about advancing in the health information field. Today's session is all about giving you insights and inspiration as you navigate your own professional paths in health information. We are thrilled to have AHIMA Fellows with us, sharing their experiences, challenges, and advice on reaching your goals. We will also have subject matter experts to answer additional questions you may have. But before we get started, here's a quick overview of how today's event will flow. First, of course, enjoy this webinar as an investment in yourself and your career journey. And thank you for dedicating the time to learn and grow with us. Throughout the event, feel free to ask questions and connect with colleagues and other AHIMA members through the chat. We encourage you to engage, share, and get the most of this experience. If you need any assistance, have questions, or need additional support, our membership team is here for you. You can reach us at memberrelationservice@ahima.org. The email address will be placed in the chat. Finally, we will be sending out a post event survey to hear your thoughts. We appreciate your feedback. So, without further ado, I would like to welcome Dr. Kevin Clower, our CEO of AHIMA, and also Mona Calhoun, our Dr. Mona Calhoun, excuse me, our president and chair of AHIMA as well.
Hi, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can,
Yes,
Mona.
we can hear you.
Awesome. First of all, let me extend my apologies. I'm attending a conference today, so I was having some login challenges, but I'm glad that you can hear me. It was so important to me that I be able to just say hello and bring greetings for this very important topic. I am a fellow, have been for several years, and one of the great things about fellows is it is a way to validate those of us who have been in the profession and have given and labored in order to show our levels of expertise. It also provides opportunity for fellows to be mentors, to be elevated to opportunities to be speakers, or it's a resource for AHIMA. And also, again, to validate your labor in this profession. So I want to thank our panelists who are experts in the field, thank them for their time. I thank our staff for providing this opportunity, and I thank all of you for joining. I was really excited to see the number of individuals who were interested in becoming a fellow. I have found great value in once I was elevated to a fellow, and I hope that you will as too. So thank you, Chris. Thank you, Daryl. Thank you to all of you, and especially again our experts, panelists who will be talking about their experiences. Thank you for this opportunity. So I'm going to hand off to Kevin, and I apologize. I won't be able to stay with you for the entire event. I do have some obligations with this conference, but again, thank you all so very much.
Well, thank you, Mona. I'm so glad that you could join us, and I know that everyone appreciates your time and your leadership as the current president and board chair for AHIMA. We know that your time is spread very thin, and everyone does appreciate it. And you are one of the best examples we have in the organization of what fellowship in AHIMA really, really represents. And I just want to take a moment or two to thank you all for attending today. And I'm really excited about this conversation with our AHIMA Fellows. And again, it signifies our commitment to you, to our members, and those that we certify in the professional community, that AHIMA wants to be your professional home. We want to do our very, very best for you. And when I think about this very, very high level of recognition in the organization, speaking to all of you is very, very important. And we value your engagement. And I just want to share with you that not only is this a recognition of your commitment to the health information profession and also your professional excellence, we get and understand and value that this is also recognition of your commitment to AHIMA and your loyalty. And we thank you so much for that. So without further ado, I'll turn this back to Chris and we will get on with the program. Thanks everyone for being here.
Thank you for those inspiring opening remarks. Now, let's dive into what it truly means to be an AHIMA Fellow. An AHIMA Fellow is a prestigious recognition awarded to AHIMA members who have demonstrated sustained and exceptional contributions to the health information field. Fellows are not only leaders, but also innovators and advocates who set the standard of excellence in advancing health information through their work, scholarship, and service. They serve as both role models and pioneers, making an impact in our field and inspiring future leaders. Being an AHIMA Fellow is more than a title. It is a mark of distinction that represents dedication to both professional growth and giving back to the health information community. Our fellows inspire others to excel. They mentor emerging professionals and students, and they push forward the standards and innovations in the health information field. So, of course, for those who are interested in pursuing fellowship, here's how you would become an AHIMA Fellow. First, it requires that you must be a current AHIMA member for a minimum of 10 consecutive years. You will need to have demonstrated your commitment through leadership, scholarship, and service in the health information profession. Then you would submit an application, a comprehensive application, along with the application fee, which will be reviewed by the AHIMA Fellowship Committee. The committee conducts a final review. If approved, you'll achieve fellow status and be recognized at our annual conference. If additional criteria is needed, you may be placed in candidate status, allowing up to 5 years to fulfill these requirements. Becoming an AHIMA Fellow is a journey that reflects deep commitment, contribution, and impact. It is one of the highest honors in our field and represents both the dedication and expertise of those who achieve it. For more information, please visit ahima.org in the recognition section to find more information about the AHIMA Fellowship Program. The link will also be placed in the chat. So now it's my pleasure to introduce our panel for today's discussion. Leading the conversation, we have Sandra Roxon, Chair of AHIMA's Emerging Professional Advisory Council, as our moderator. Joining Sandra, we have two esteemed fellows, Teresa Smith-Rudd and Dr. Pavan Goyal. Thank you for being here to share your insights and experiences with us. Our fellows will answer questions that were submitted by all of you while registering for this event, but please feel free to also post questions in the chat. I will now hand it over to Sandra to get us started with the conversation.
Welcome, everyone. I'm so happy to see you all on this call. My name is Sandra Roxon. I'm a registered health information administrator, also the Emerging Professional Advisory Council, chair of that. I'm currently a healthcare consultant. We have these two amazing AHIMA fellows with us today. I'm going to let Teresa introduce herself first and then Juan after.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Teresa Smith-Rudd. I work as Senior Director for Mercy Health, an integrated delivery system in Southern Wisconsin and Northern Illinois. I have system HIM, clinical research, IRB, and then I serve as the privacy officer also. Our organization is about 7,500 partners. We call our employees partners. I started in HIM with a Bachelor of Science degree from UW Milwaukee. I have added over time the Master of Arts from St. Scholastica in Health Information Management and also Health Informatics. More recently, I studied with Loyola Chicago Law for my Master's in Jurisprudence. So not an attorney, an MJ. I have maintained my RHIA for 38 years, not that I'm counting, right? And then more recently, I don't know, within the last decade or so, added the CHPS, the Certified in Health, Privacy, and Security credential. I am a work group member, a speaker for a number of different organizations. I have talked in Minnesota, Illinois, and Wisconsin, and I have been a speaker nationally for Epic Systems, Inc. I'm currently a board member and for WHIMA.
Thank you, Teresa. Juan?
Well, what an impressive credential, Teresa. So this is Pawan Goyal. Thanks for having me as your panelist. I'm a physician informatician, have a MD degree from India in ear, nose, and throat. I came to US almost 25 years ago, and came as a student and joined Ohio University for Masters in Healthcare Administration. HIPAA was very new at that point in time, and that motivated me to take another master's program in health policy, ethics, and economics. Since then, I have served as a informatics consultant for Veterans Affairs, and for past 8 years, I have been serving as Chief Data Officer and Vice President for Quality at American College of Emergency Physicians, which is a nonprofit physician society out of Dallas. My role has been focused primarily on quality and safety in healthcare, but how can we do that without data? So, data is something that provides us the baseline, and we can't improve what we do not know about. So, information is extremely important for our career. One way for me to define it, what are we? We are information brokers, essentially. Some of us produce information, other handle information very diligently and make it available in various workflows. I'm very excited to be part of this panel today and look forward to interacting with you.
What impressive backgrounds were shared with us. Awesome. I can't wait to get into these questions. Let's dive in. First question, tell us about your initial career exploration and how it has changed as you progress through your career.
I could take that. So initially, I chose this profession when I was in middle school, let's say before ninth grade. I decided I wanted to be an RHIA. Less specificity as to what specifically I wanted to do until I got into the bachelor's program. And my initial interest was because I really loved science, technical reading and writing, and also was interested in legal type issues. So this profession really combined those things nicely.
Thank you. So I have different pathways in my career. So 9 years of medical school, and then 9 years as a practicing surgeon. But during my practice, I became very passionate about patient safety and quality, and started to look into various ways of improving quality at a scale. Being a surgeon, we could help so many patients on one basis, but if we needed a system level change, something had to be done differently. That motivated me to go back to school, and that's where I joined the master's program. Once I completed my master's program, one of my academic counselors advised me to look into AHIMA as one of the professional organizations. So I became member of AHIMA almost 25 years ago. In fact, 25 with AHIMA this year. And once I became member, I started to look into a fellowship pathway that really helped me grow into my career, learn about the various components of information management, and then start contributing to maturity of information, especially in the digital age as we evolved from paper to EHR.
Nice. Thank you for sharing. Knowledge is never ending. I love that. Next question. How has your role as a fellow impacted your ability to contribute to the health information profession?
I could start with that one. So I think what was powerful for me was the journey to fellowship. So the pathway allows us to do increased networking, participate perhaps on an AHIMA committee not previously experienced. Also, the networking involved with working at the component state association level. Those were the super powerful things. I would say since becoming a fellow, I've now been invited to speak at a forum outside of our traditional HIM domain. So the Wisconsin risk managers wanted to hear from me about information blocking, okay, what does it mean to them? So it's an interesting process to take what we all know about this, right? Complex topic already. So how do you synthesize it and make it bite-sized, real for a group of risk managers? They responded so well. Greeted me warmly and continued to ask me questions throughout the day. Other speakers did. So I don't think that would have happened. I don't know if I had that kind of confidence in me to go outside of our traditional HIM forums before. But mostly what it's done for me, the fellowship journey, it's inspired me, it's renewed me. It's given me that burst of confidence, refreshed me for the rest of the road here. I have also been involved with patient safety type things well before there was a requirement to use the safer guides. HHS ONC has safer guides, safely and resiliently using the electronic medical record technology. HIM here had very much been involved with sharing those best practices well before they were required. And I think it's important to take those opportunities as they come up to showcase our profession. So we want to make sure that we're not just concentrating on operations. Of course, we have to do operations. We also have to do the other things. The other disciplines need us. And so how can we help the other disciplines has been a huge focus of my career.
That's excellent, Teresa. So there are two sides of the coin. One is the learning and other is the contributing. So as we go through the fellowship process and our career with AHIMA and other organizations, there is always a lot of learning. That learning happens through your colleagues, through various processes and requirement for the fellowship application, where you have to bridge a lot of components, which is being serving on various committees and task forces, being an author, being a speaker, being a panelist, and you learn about various aspects of healthcare delivery, information management, privacy, security, and in that process you become a subject matter expert. Then you start to contribute. You get invited to write papers, articles, chapters in the book. You become part of the National Speakers Bureau with the AHIMA, and you are kind of fostering innovation on behalf of all of you, where we are sort of leading the pack and bringing new thoughts and ideas. The last piece is collaboration. The collaboration with other organizations is extremely important. We can do alone as AHIMA members. We are part of a community. It takes a village to bring a change, and bringing that village together is part of our expertise here as a fellowship group.
Nice. I love the confidence that you both gained and also that ability to provide value while becoming a subject matter expert. Next question. If you could go back and give advice to your younger self as a student or early career professional, what would you say?
Well, I would start by saying, hang on tight, Teresa. It's going to be a wild ride. I don't know if you would have told me as a 14-year-old that I would find myself building, refining a broadly defined health information management function, really directly participating in the rules, the regulations that came about, that brought us to the electronic medical record. All of these things that we knew anyway, right? We needed to apply desperately, vigorously as our organization started the electronic medical record journey. That's when I first went back to school. So I think I would tell my younger self, be prepared to retool, that you might not be able to study just one time, right? And Pavan has also said this as well. Picking up the additional degrees, even for me, deciding to do the MJ in my late 50s was interesting, but I'm so glad I did it. And there were many RHIAs there, by the way, at Loyola Law MJ program. There were several of us. So I would also say you'll find yourself with a unique set of skills in this overall healthcare industry. You are unmatched for having the particular expertise needed at this particular point in time. And we must use our skills because if not us, who is going to do it? There isn't a perfect professional for any particular task, right? I mean, well, maybe surgeon, right? But there are many, many skills that HIM people bring to the table, and we need to use those on almost every day, at least every week, to help other areas to spread the word about what we can do. I would tell my younger self also to be prepared to help other areas figure out complex problems that, not directly HIM, but you build credibility by entering into their moment of need. Then when you need their compliance with something, there is a collegiality that is unparalleled. Once you are accepted as a subject matter expert, you are able to spread the HIM message further along. So I would truly recommend that people build credibility by helping blur the edges of HIM. I would absolutely say that. Looking at my little list here, make sure that you that you show your expertise while you're implementing EMR. So the vendor will see then, oh, wow, this person has some additional expertise. Maybe I would invite that person to help advise us. That's how we get a seat at the decision-making table. That's how we get it. That's how we keep it. I do joke. I say, my first directorship started when I was 26 years old. Okay, so when I was 26, sometimes I did say, why doesn't anyone invite HIM to XYZ, whatever? So very early in my career, I came to change that saying to everyone always wants HIM at the table for even far-reaching decisions, but that's the way we need it to be. That's the way it needs to be. If something is being built in the electronic medical record, HIM has to be involved in that kind of thing. So if you can build that kind of collegiality, that kind of credibility, the clinical areas will absolutely seek you out. They will not try to do something without checking with HIM. And I think that's where we want to be.
Thanks, Teresa. So I'll share a few things here. First of all, step out of your comfort zone. As Teresa said, it's very important for us to look into something outside of our routine work, something complex, something unknown, and then let's be prepared to fail often and fail early. We will learn both by doing and by making mistakes. So that's a good way to learn and progress. The other piece is, be prepared to be a lifelong learner. Learning never stops. Healthcare is a dynamic industry. Things change. They change very rapidly. We have to initially become part of the change, but then gradually, as we grow into our leadership, we have to lead the change, and we have to take our teams with us through the change and constantly motivate them to do their best.
Great advice. Thank you. Did you have a mentor at the beginning of your career, and how did that help shape your career?
Yeah, I would say there were a handful of people that were mentors, and it's kind of shifted over time. It might have been more of an informal type thing, but yes, there have always been people looking out for me. And I realized then at some point it kind of transitioned that maybe I was the mentor, informally or formally. We in Wisconsin frequently have a group of us that will phone a friend, Illinois as well. It's good to have that kind of network. And mentors can really start a person off. They help with connections. The connection piece is just so critical. In my case, I would say the mentors encouraged me. I started my career a bit on the shy side. I have recovered from that very nicely. I am not very shy now. So, the person that introduces you to people, that says, even when you don't want to go to a meeting, yes, we're going to go to a meeting. Yes, we are going to go to the national meeting, and it's going to be one of the most awesome things that you do. Try to go to the national meeting. They are very well done.
Yeah, I was very fortunate actually. I had not one, not two, three mentors, and all three happened to be presidents of AHIMA. One of the mentors really helped me with the academic side of the excellence. How to teach at a various college level and then build course curriculum and program. HIM profession has evolved. Initially it used to be HIM, then we added HIT, then privacy security became very important with HIPAA, and then electronic health record brought a very huge role for HIM professions. And we are sort of backbone in managing all the electronic transaction in today's world, and the role is becoming more and more important with cyber security issues that are happening these days, and information security in virtual world, and access to information through mobility and other devices is becoming extremely important. So that was my second mentor who helped me on the various digital side of the information management and privacy and security learning and various type of projects in that area. My third mentor helped me into public speaking, publication, writing various articles, in newspaper, newsletters, drafting white papers and discussion topics, etc. As many mentors as you have, it really helps you to grow as a well-rounded person. But it's very important that we have to have time commitment because our mentors are senior people. Their time is very precious, so we have to pay attention to what they are trying to coach us and then show results to them. So it's a two-way street. When we decide to use mentors, we have to show progress and we have to make them feel proud of what they have told us, and we have done excellent in that area.
Awesome. As you all see, both of our fellows did have mentors. Mentorship is so important. If you are looking for a mentor, I do advise check out the AHIMA website. We do have an M to M program, mentor to mentee. We have a question from Joshua. Hello, Kwang. I'm really interested in the VA and my dad is a vet. Any tips for a master's student who may have not much experience and how to break into the field? Also, more of a fun question. Where in India did you go to school?
Okay, let me start with the second one. So I went to a school called Christian Medical College. That was actually an American school, and all of my faculty was from US. So I was trained into sort of US based healthcare system, but trained in India, dealt with a very different population there. So in terms of VA, VA is a great place from learning perspective, and one of the best way to enter VA is the volunteer department. Every VA has a volunteership department where you can go and sign up to volunteer. The volunteer department has lots of roles, starting from being patient greeter to food distributor, helping with medication distribution, helping with registration process, even in HIM department, helping with policy revisions, managing three ring binders, updating forms. So there are ton of opportunities, and you have to first learn about the organization, its culture, its people, who we serve, veterans who are our heroes. What does it take to really help veterans? I worked with VA 16 years in my previous role before joining ASAP. And I'm very proud to share that I have traveled to every VA hospital in the nation in all 50 states physically. So do start with that. And if you need any specific guidance, let me know offline, and I'm happy to help you make connections in VA.
That is very helpful.
Next question is from Edith. How can you get opportunities to support a path to becoming an AHIMA Fellow?
Mm-hmm. I could start with it. Think about your component state association and all of the different work groups that need to be fueled, need volunteers. So I can tell you that reading a new statute or reading a new coding guideline is one thing, but then writing about it as part of your work group for an educational piece, like Pavan has mentioned, really changes your synthesis. So, okay, now you have not just read it, you are distilling it so that someone else can learn from you about it. And it really ingrains the knowledge. So I would highly recommend that. At various points during the year, there are opportunities, short term and even long term, to elected or non-elected at the AHIMA website where you can participate. Well, it's a great networking thing. One of the things that I really enjoyed was people present presentations for the national committee, and then people go through and they read the presentations and just vet them. That was super rewarding work. And then I did some item reviewing, revising for the CHPS exam. So the CHPS exam was only several months long. I bet you it was less than 6 months. The National Presentation Committee, that was maybe 2 years at a time. But there are opportunities, and you will learn so much, and you will meet people that can connect you to other opportunities.
Teresa had very pointed and excellent guidance here. So I would recommend that you first download the fellowship application, do a self-scoring, and see, in various components, 10 years of membership, authorship, volunteership in various committees and sections, public speaking, academic excellence. Do your own scoring and see where are the gaps. Once you have done a gap analysis, then you have to find a way, create a practical plan. How do I bridge this gap? And that is where you will have to create opportunities for yourself in order to mitigate those gaps. As Teresa mentioned, your local component and state chapters are the best places to start. And it's not only expecting to go and get help from them, you have to be willing to contribute. It's a two-way street. You have to volunteer and say, where are the needs? Does somebody need analysis or review of a particular document, legislation, white paper, critiquing, or even facilitating a work group of 3, 5, 7 people, taking meeting notes? You learn by interacting, you network, and once you become really an important part of the team, people will be willing to invest in you.
That is such an excellent point, Pavan. Using the documents that are out there. And then we happen to be on the fellowship committee right now. And Chris has really helped us automate the tool. There's going to be a new tool coming out, but begin with the end in mind, right? Stephen Covey tells us. So do start with the tools, the fellowship tools that are out there, because it's harder to recreate afterwards. Google does remember where you gave a presentation. Your expense reports can show you which annual meetings you went to, but try to keep track of everything that you do, every poster presentation, every article, every work group. Keep track of it as you go, and it will be much easier to see the gaps too. And that's how you know where to fill in.
Nice, thank you. Great advice. Next question. How does becoming a fellow benefit your career, and why would you encourage others to pursue it?
Yeah, I think it's that that external validation. So it's a neutral external validation that you really have achieved subject matter expertise in a number of areas. And one thing to keep in mind with fellowship is that it's not just the 100 points to the 250 points. It's particular numbers of points required in each one of the categories. So I think what it does is it makes a more well-rounded professional. Getting back to what Pavan mentioned with the closing the gaps.
So I'll go back to what our CEO, Dr. Kevin Flower, mentioned in the beginning. It's a commitment. First, it's a commitment to yourself, that you want to be excellent, you want to be on top of your game, and you want to learn to be an astute professional. The second is the commitment to the profession itself, that we love. We want to nurture that profession. We want to help grow that profession and want to mentor others, but then find opportunities to streamline and improve processes. There is always an opportunity here, and I'm going to share a story here in that regard. When I uh, started to apply for fellowship application program several years ago with AHIMA, everything was paper based. We had to print papers. We had to put those papers into 3-ring binders and FedEx them. We have come a long way. Now everything is electronic. We have tools. The application process, which used to be so onerous, is a much better process. But then, how did that happen, and why did it happen? Because we took that commitment to ourselves. That we will improve our own processes. We will drink our own Kool-Aid.
Thank you for sharing. What advice might you give to a student who is just starting their health information program?
I think volunteer experience, even if it's an unpaid internship, it could be as simple as approaching an HIM department, asking to meet with a member of the leadership team, and maybe asking for a tour. Having a job in any healthcare role helps, because most healthcare roles now interact with the electronic medical record. That's a way to break in. What you want to do is try not to avoid graduate from an RHAT or RHIA program and never have worked or never been inside an HIM department. I know you'll do internships and that kind of thing, but try to get some exposure ahead of time, ideally paid employment. But if you can't, then maybe some of those suggestions. Let's see what Pavan might have to say.
No, thank you. I would first of all start by congratulating the student, that they have chosen a great career pathway and they are in the right profession. Second thing, as Teresa mentioned, is building upon what we call KSAs, which is knowledge, skills, and aptitude. Knowledge is something that we will gain from our coursework, from our schoolwork. We need to pick our subjects very carefully. It should be interdisciplinary, mix of understanding privacy, security, understanding fundamentals of information management, but then also taking some courses in computer science and data management and analytics are extremely important. While we are doing that in the school, we need to start applying that knowledge through hands-on training, which is skill. Trying to get a paid skill building is always the best option, but sometimes it does not exist. We have to start with volunteership. Go to a local healthcare organization and volunteer. There's no harm. That way you will start to apply your knowledge in a practical way, and you will start to gain hands-on learning through skill development. Once you have those skills, you want to develop aptitude. Aptitude is about problem solving, bringing a change, being an innovator, think differently, act differently. So as you gain knowledge and skills, you will see what can I solve, what are the problems that are there in day-to-day workflow that people are complaining about, but nobody is willing to step up and solve it. Can I be that person? And we may fail first time, when we try something new, but don't be hesitant. Learn from that failure and then try again.
Yeah, I think it was key for me. In high school, I worked at a small community hospital in so many different areas, clinical, x-ray, on the nursing care units. I also worked in, it was called medical records then, but yeah, HIM. And I continued volunteering then, even when I was in the RHIA program. There's always some kind of project that needs to be done.
Great advice. New students need to not be afraid to get their feet wet, get that hands-on experience. Try to volunteer. It will all help throughout your program and after when you head into the workplace. We have a question from Rebecca. How can becoming an AHIMA Fellow help to encourage the field to create opportunities for those who wish to hone their HIM career as an international career? crossing borders often and influencing the life of things such as building interoperable systems in which there are security, privacy, but also enabling individuals to utilize tools and patient safety and better patient outcomes.
I know AHIMA has had international members. I think Jennifer might be with us. She has attended international conferences before for HIM. Would anyone else like to take that one?
I'm happy to add to that. So we live in a global village now. The world has become smaller with the Wi-Fi and internet and the information exchange across the globe. As we are doing that, we are always learning and contributing to various international societies. AHIMA is a global organization and we have a lot of international members. And as we expand our learning, we will have opportunities to contribute and serve on various committees. So one of the examples, when as AHIMA member, I was very fortunate to serve on World Health Organization's a committee called ISO 215. So International Standards Organization 215 is a committee which is focused on standards and interoperability at a global scale. So where we are not only able to contribute what is the US doing in terms of utilization of ICD-10, CPT-4, HCPCS scopes, etc., but then what does it really mean? But then we also bring learning back. When I was serving on ISO 215, I realized that the ICD codes were being used in Europe just to track death and disease. It was never linked to a payment system like in US. So it's always a great learning and contributing into the international arena.
Right, the decision in '83 to tie the reimbursement system to the first DRG system, that really did change how the ICD was used, and as you mentioned, other international standards.
And once you start contributing, you will be surprised that you start getting invitation. Recently I was able to present at a Health Level 7 conference in Sydney, Australia. I got invitation to come and speak on interoperability in US.
That's just excellent experience. Thank you.
That's awesome. In a leadership role, how do you maintain your knowledge with coding and guidelines?
Oh, in a management role?
In a leadership management role?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Yeah, I see. Yes, that's a dilemma, right? Because you could say that I've been in management since I started as a 22-year-old as a supervisor. I was an assistant for 9 months, and then I've been a director for 38 years. And you do fear that. You fear that. How am I going to know how to do it? It's a lot of technical reading, it's technical writing, but stay involved with the component state, also AHIMA, working on those projects, maybe even do it in a way, bump out of your comfort zone. So I am less likely to do a coding type thing, but I have written articles about coding. Try to challenge yourself. A way to do it, though, is we do have high quality journal articles available to us between topics in health record management and then also the Journal of AHIMA. The state component associations have excellent teaching, high quality, low cost type in-person or virtual learnings, but there's also articles that you can do. So yeah, I'm never going to day-to-day code. We're already past that. But I do still have a very high level, close understanding of regulatory concepts for institutional review board, privacy, security, cybersecurity. I maintain that by doing the technical reading and participating in work groups, even small work groups, and then also as serving as presenters.
Yeah, let me summarize what Risa said 3 ways. First is in leadership role, you are often volunteering and serving on various types of committees and groups. where you are on the forefront of the change. Even before the change get published, you have led that change, So that's one piece. Second is a day spent at the local component organization. So I'm in Dallas, and Dallas AHIMA is so vibrant that every quarter they have a quarterly conference for one day, and that one day spent is the best day spent. You get a distillation of all the changes that are coming, what is relevant, what is important, through various lectures and through various networking. And third is, as leaders, you have ability to delegate. So I often ask my team members, as soon as new coding guidelines come up or new ICD
Mhm.
codes come up, to do analysis, prepare presentation for the team, and present to the team and run through that.
Thank you for sharing.
Mhm.
This question is from Stephanie. She says, Sandra, Teresa, and Tom, the ability to connect with professionals all across HIM and RCM. There are so many ways to connect and learn from others. Aside from what's been mentioned, do you have any out of the box ways that you made meaningful connections?
Mhm. Yeah, let's see. Beside those things, do you have ideas, Pavan?
Yeah, let me start here. So
Okay.
LinkedIn provides an excellent platform for making professional connections. That's one. So don't underestimate the power of social media. Look into that, and there are a lot of private communities as well as public communities you could be part of. Second is investing into professional membership, not only with AHIMA, but look what else is important. Are there other association? If you are interested in privacy side of things, if you are interested in cybersecurity, look into your local areas and try to build connections there. The third way is to go to the local healthcare organizations, hospitals, and others, and become a volunteer.
Mm,
And that
sure.
gives you another level of networking, and through
Mhm.
them, you could be a brand ambassador, not only for them but for yourself as well.
Mm.
Anything to add, Teresa?
No, those are great suggestions, though. Yeah.
Next question is best advice on becoming a fellow.
Oh, right. Yeah. So, like I mentioned before, do keep track of it ahead of time. Um, and make sure that you're keeping track of all of the information that you're doing. Push yourself outside of your comfort zone. Um, think of it as a multi-year process. Um, Pavan did mention the candidacy piece. I did the candidacy piece, and that worked out fine for me. So you apply initially. There's a set amount of money that you pay. Then you work with the tools, and for a period of maybe a year and a half or 2 years, however long you want to, but it concludes within 5 years. Um, close those gaps that you have. Keep careful track of how many points you have in which area. And our new tool that will be released at the beginning of next year will also help guide this process too. But don't think of it as something that you have to do in 3 months. It's not going to be that. It's a multi-year process. Think of it as a process. Give yourself time. Um, do consider making your CV early in the process. So when you apply for fellow, you're not going to just have a resume. It will be a curriculum vitae. So you're going to list all of the different articles, the different presentations that you've given. That takes a lot of work. So don't leave it to the last minute. Do you have other thoughts?
Yeah, so start early and be proactive. That's
Mhm.
advice number one. Advice number two: find a mentor and a coach. That's very important in your journey. I also went through a candidacy process, which is actually good way to break it into two parts. Part one creates a foundation and creates a gap analysis for you, and part two helps you mitigate those gaps through an actionable plan. It's a journey. Be ready for the long journey, but enjoy that journey. make learning fun, make meeting with people and networking fun. It's beautiful, but you have to be invested and you have to do your side of thing. It's hard work, it's long work, but it's worth it, believe me.
I'm currently serving as a mentor for a fellow candidate, and it's rewarding too, serving that way. I was afraid to do it, but again, outside of comfort zones, we have a theme here. It's been a rewarding experience.
Thank you for that. Being a fellow is a commitment, but it's a rewarding commitment.
Mhm.
Do you have any more questions? All right. Thank you, Teresa and Pavan. We really appreciate you joining us today. You dropped so many gems, gave value and amazing career insight. This was such a valuable discussion, and just greatly appreciate your impressive backgrounds and you taking the time out to share that.
Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity.
First, any last minute things would you like to say to the students or any early careerists that's watching before we hand it over to Chris?
You have picked an awesome career. Hold on tight. It's a good career.
I would like to congratulate all of you for the career move as well as spending your time with us today. That this time spent is demonstrating your commitment to excellence and commitment to self-growth. So congratulations on that as well.
Thank you, and thank you all for joining us for this panel discussion. Passing over to Chris.
Yes, thank you for this engaging conversation. Of course, we appreciate your openness and sharing your career journeys and experience and your wisdom. I'm sure everyone found your stories both inspiring and motivating as they consider their own paths in health information. I can see in the chat that we had several attendees that are asking for contact information so that they can connect with you and gain more knowledge from you. So thank you again for everything that you do. So now it's time for our Q&A session. Joining us for this portion are Jennifer Miller, our Senior Vice President of Health Information and Career Advancement at AHIMA, and Dr. Jasmine Agnew, Senior Vice President of Academic Affairs and Professional Credentials, also from AHIMA. So during this Q&A, they will be answering questions that were submitted during registration as well as those coming through the chat. We're going to focus on topics around career development, career advancement, our AHIMA certifications, and professional credentialing. Of course, thank you both for joining and for lending your expertise to our attendees today. First, let's start with a brief introductions. Jennifer, would you like to start?
Sure. Good evening, everybody. I'm Jennifer Miller. I have been at AHIMA now for about 3 months. My career is long. I've been a health information professional and a member of AHIMA for about 28 years, going back all the way to working in a medical clinic, filing records, all the way to being a vice president, chief information officer at a hospital. Most recently, prior to this role, I was at the Wisconsin Hospital Association as vice president and privacy officer. So have worn a lot of hats. I've also spent a lot of time volunteering in Wisconsin at AHIMA, along with Teresa and here at AHIMA. Over the last several years, I was a board director for 3 years, and I'm the immediate past president and chair of the AHIMA board last year. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. And Dr. Agnew?
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Dr. Jasmine Agnew, Senior Vice President, Academic Affairs and Professional Credentials. This is year 25 for me in the field of health information and with AHIMA as a member, and day 130 as an employee. My background is in health informatics. I worked a lot with EHR implementation, user experience, system design, and build. Everything that I did was based on my knowledge of what I learned in health information. The comment just threw me off. One of my students said, "Hey, you were my professor." So yes, I have been in education for quite some time. Education is a love of mine, and here I'm able to share my love of education to educate you on the importance of patient data and health information and what it can do to change the life and the quality of life for people who are in vulnerable and affected communities. So thank you all for joining us today.
Wonderful. Okay, so now let's dive into the questions. So, do you have any advice on gaining work experience in health information management while pursuing a degree in health information management?
I can take that one. One of the things that I encourage students to do and emerging professionals to do is look for opportunities to do any internships, any volunteer work, shadowing. And now they have some platforms where they do offer virtual internships that will let you complete projects. And they deal with skills that you have to learn and know how to do and be proficient in once you enter into the field of health informatics and information management. Another thing that I would say is never be short-sighted or linear in thinking of what you can do to gain that experience. You can work in multiple departments, other departments other than just HIM. You can work in patient access. Patient access is the front line of patient data. That is when the patient comes into the door, and from the time they get there, that information follows them throughout their stay. So we are those holders of information, and that gives you an opportunity to really get acclimated to how that fits into the processes, whether it be financial and clinical administration from start to finish. So my advice is never overlook those small opportunities and take those opportunities, even if they're for a short period of time. And I always refer to them as lily pads. Never be afraid to go from lily pad to lily pad and gain your experience in those positions.
And just to add on to that, you did mention volunteering, but that would be another great opportunity. Work with your student HI club at your school. I know, at least here in Wisconsin, a lot of our programs are very active, and they are very active with our state association. So those are other opportunities to gain some experience talking with others, networking. That's a real important piece of this.
Wonderful. Okay, let's go to the next question. Do you have any tips or tricks on balancing school, work, and family?
Well, discipline. No, I think it is actually discipline. It's trying to schedule time. I know some people like me, I'm really rigid about my calendar and scheduling time. I actually schedule time to exercise because I hold myself accountable. If it's in my calendar, I get it done. So schedule time for yourself, whether it is exercise or any other type of just, peaceful centering of yourself. Make time for your family. It's very important. Your work will be there tomorrow. So if you do have a career, or your job is you're working your way through your schooling, when the work is done, focus on your family, focus on yourself, focus on your dog, things that you love that energize you and charge you back up for the next day. Jasmine, you have any tips?
Sure. Now, I can tell you from personal experience, what helped me was using the Pomodoro technique. And what that is that you are task oriented and you focus about 30 minutes and you work on that assignment, that work, whatever you have to do in school. And let me tell you, I still have my timer sitting here on my desk, and I set it for 30 minutes and I work on it for 30 minutes. And when this timer goes off, I get up. And even if it's for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I'll get up, I'll go walk around, I'll go grab something to eat, I'll put a load of laundry in, I'll go talk to my son, something just to take my mind off just for a moment. And then I'll come back refreshed, renewed, and revived. And if you do that 3 or 4 times in a night, you've spent 2 hours working on it, but not sitting there and not being connected with the rest of your life. So you find a way. I did that at least 2 or 3 nights a week. And then on the weekend, I would do it 4 or 5 times. And I was able to manage getting my schoolwork done. I also had a son at the time when I was in school that he was in school. And so I had to manage family, and I still work full time. So that was what I used. It was the Pomodoro technique. And if you would like to get some information about that, I would love to share that. But yeah, Pomodoro technique helped me. Like I said, I know I got the purple one, and I got a white one and another one over here somewhere where I just keep up with the time, 30 minutes. And then I get up, then I come back. And I do that, and it helps me to stay on task, on time, and on target.
It's awesome. I never heard of that technique. It's pretty fancy.
Yeah, I don't have the clocks around my house. I just use my stopwatch on my phone
That's
to
awesome.
remind me. I have an alarm set to make
It
me
was
stay on track.
$3.99 on Amazon. I'll send you. I got a bunch of them.
Love it. Okay, let's go to the next question. As someone new in their career, what advice do you have for successfully breaking into the health information field?
So this is I've been looking at the chat, and you guys have some great questions. So keep them coming. But there are a lot of questions that are very similar to this in the chat, and it is hard. It is hard to get in the door at an organization when you don't have experience, but there are things you can do. And what I'm going to say is the most important thing to do is to network. You have to network, whether that's volunteering or being on social media, LinkedIn. It's a way to not only get to know people, but people to get to know you. And in a way that just applying for a position will never allow someone to see. Also, they will know things, they will know people, they will know about opportunities that you may not see very readily. I would also say I've seen a lot of questions in the chat about it being a coder and trying to get an entry level coding position after your CCS. And whether you can get into a hospital, or I know that's what it sounds like a lot of people are interested in doing. There's a lot of companies out there that hire either temporary coding positions or outplacement coding positions, things like that, that will definitely give you experience so that you ultimately can get into, the hospital in your community or wherever you're interested. So there are some tips that way, but I would definitely just say, get the experience if you can, whether it is volunteering, doing not a mentorship, but an internship, or or networking. Jasmine, you have anything to add?
Social capital, networking is important. A lot of our HIM programs are online, and so you don't have as much opportunity to network and get out there. So anytime you can go to a state meeting, a local meeting, even a regional meeting, if they still have them, go introduce yourself, enter into those conversations. Always be there like a sponge to soak up new information, and then introduce yourself to people that are in position. So when a job comes open, they say, "Hey, I think I met that person," or if they see your resume come across their desk, "I think I met them at a meeting. Let me reach out." And I know that that works for a lot of emerging professionals. So network always, anytime you have an opportunity.
I just want to talk more about this. Follow companies out there there are so many companies. I think we just had AHIMA 24. There were, I don't know, 110 or something vendors in our exhibit hall. Follow these companies. They have positions all the time. I follow lots of them, and there's always posting for different positions. And that's a great way to start getting experience. So just, I don't know, I thought that would be just a great way to do it, because I see so many job opportunities out there, and I know it's difficult once you get in the whole application process and all of that. But I think just being educated on what's out there, maybe that's outside of your typical sort of hospital or health system, those things might help.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things that my mentor told me when I would get frustrated about not being able to find a job, especially when I first started, she said, "In a world full of no's, all you need is one yes."
Yeah.
So apply.
Right.
Put
That's
yourself
right.
out there, and the right opportunity will find you, and that will lead to more future opportunities. So,
well, especially because I'm no LinkedIn expert, but I think the way that these job applications are these days, there's so much AI and things that unfortunately sometimes those resumes and applications get kicked out before the person ever even really gets an opportunity. So by meeting someone, telling them what you want or what you're looking for and having them help you, that's going to be the faster way in.
Great advice. Great advice. Let's go to the next question. Let's see, from Meta, what emerging roles do you see outside of the inpatient, outpatient setting that might be a good fit for seasoned HI leaders?
Ooh, seasoned HI leaders. You can do anything. You got lots of superpowers.
And you can always put things together. You
Yeah.
know, if you're a seasoned HI leader, you have a lot of
Oh,
experience
yeah.
with revenue cycle and coding. With the introduction of AI in those spaces, you can use what you know about revenue cycle and coding along with AI to help providers determine what services are more profitable and help healthcare organizations determine what service lines work better for them. You can use it to find trends among your population to see what service line needs to be implemented and also find ways to work with community organizations to implement programs to improve the quality of life for your patients. Anything that has to do with patient data as an emerging leader, because we understand patient data and data management and data governance, there are opportunities for us to work in spaces where we have to sit at the table to talk about, hey, how does this data need to work? How does it work together? What does interoperability mean? What about data governance? And all of that goes back to that foundational knowledge that all of us got all of us get when we're in those HR programs, and we stay agile and move with the current healthcare ecosystem is where it's going. So yeah, there are
Yeah.
lots of opportunities for even for those that have been in the field for a long time, lots of opportunities with where healthcare is going right now for us to use what we know and that legacy learning and what we learned years ago and throughout the years in HIM with where the industry is going now. The key is working either going back to get additional training or working in career advancement and getting that additional continuing education to get you up to date with what's happening in the field.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. But just to reiterate a few things that you said, working with data is huge right now. I would say that hospitals and health systems are a lot of the larger ones have been using data for a long time, obviously, but I think there's a lot of opportunity yet in healthcare for health information professionals to help their hospitals use data to not only in the rev cycle, but in the areas that Jasmine was just talking about related to the social determinants of health, health equity, improving the health of your communities, and so on. Those are great. The other one is interoperability. These are positions that are very, very much needed now and will be growing like crazy because we do need to find a place in our future where our patient information flows to the patient, to the provider when and where they need it. So that is going to be a really important role that we can play. And then the last one I can talk about, which might be just like, really? Cybersecurity. I mean, we have the opportunity. I mean, cybersecurity is obviously super important and a very, very hot topic right now. And they need professionals in this space. And why not health information professionals? Why not? Why can't we fill these roles? And so those are some other great ideas and things to think about. We have that experience in security, data security, but you know what? There are, like Jasmine also talked about, continuing education, micro certifications, and other types of experience definitely can get you going in that direction.
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Let's go to the next
And you
question.
know what else? Just
Oh.
leadership. I mean, you're a seasoned health information leader. Just the leadership. I mean, I would say, boy, 10 years ago, I was vice president of ancillary services. I oversaw laboratory, radiology, pharmacy, all the ancillary departments. I didn't know the first thing about taking an x-ray or filling a prescription or any of that. But if you're a leader, you can lead. And so those are just other things. Don't sell yourself short. Just because you have technical expertise in health information doesn't mean that you can't lead people and you can't lead processes and that those are important skills to have. So I just felt like I wanted to say that too. Just you can really do a lot of things, especially after you've had many years of experience as health information leader.
Thank you.
Sorry, Chris.
No, I appreciate you adding that because they want to hear this information. So thank you for sharing it. Okay, from Makia, any advice on preparing to sit in a management chair or leadership role, which I'm nervous about? Should I or should I not? I do not want to be comfortable because I know there are a lot of roles out there.
Do it. It's super uncomfortable. Um, a lot of people who are young professionals, sometimes they're in a management position where the people they're managing are sometimes 2 or 3 times older than them. And that's scary. You're a new professional, it's what if I do the wrong thing? What if I make the wrong decision? But you should do it. And one thing that I think is really important are the soft skills. So these are an ability for you to know how to create a team, to create a team environment, to empower your team, things like that. These are, keep work fun, to just have problem solving skills. I mean, these soft skills, I think, are super important when you're preparing to become a manager or some sort of other leadership position. Jasmine?
Neil Donald Walsh said it best. He said, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. When you get out of your comfort zone, that is when you get to see all that you can do, because it forces you to become your best self.
Mm-hmm.
And you always show up, not only for your organization, but you show up for you because you want to put your best foot forward. So, yeah, that's when life begins, when you get out of your comfort zone and extend yourself beyond what you think you can do and what you are actually able to do.
Okay, next question.
I just saw someone's chat that said their professor told them if they're having fun, they're doing it wrong. I just think that is, I'm like, if you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong.
Okay, a question from Sibi. What strategies have you found the most successful in the HIM industry?
For me, it was having an open mind and being open to working outside of just HIM, finding opportunities. Because I can tell you, a lot of my jobs were in departments other than just HIM. I worked in IT, I worked in education. So I really think that you have to be successful. It's less about working just in at department, but using your HIM skills to succeed wherever you go, bloom wherever you're planted. So my strategy and my advice is find a way to utilize what you know in the best possible way to get to where you want to be. Do what you must in order to be able to do what you want to.
Yeah, and to add on to that, be open to change. Don't be afraid of change. I know change is scary. I totally understand that and respect that. But if you think about it, we started back, well, at least some of us started back when, medical records were on paper. We had shelves of paper and out guides, internal digit order. And I'm sorry if I'm bringing up scary past for people, but I mean, that's when we started. And so, and then we, led initiatives at our organizations to implement electronic health records. We built teams around, building the electronic health record. We worked with our clinicians to get them to use electronic health record. And now, wow, here we are today. We have data. So you keep morphing. So now we're talking today about working with the data, using the data. How can we do that? So what's next? AI, interoperability, health information exchange. These are just permutations of our profession. And so don't be afraid of them, embrace them. And our profession is going to keep on changing. If you keep up with the things that are going on in electronic health records and how it is changing and incorporating non-clinical AI and all of that, I mean, get knowledgeable about it and, offer and volunteer to get on those work groups and work teams and just learn as much as you can about those, because that's where the value will be to your organization.
Great advice. All right, next question. From Alicia, HIM and coding go hand in hand. How did you decide which disciplines to focus on?
Oh, well, that was easy because coding's hard. So no, I mean, it is hard. I didn't go that direction. I've really found privacy and security and compliance and leadership, that sort of route. So when I think about HIM, that to me is that, I wanted to be in leadership and similar to previous speaker Teresa, I really loved privacy and security and compliance. Coding, excellent career path, lots of opportunities. That to me is, definitely technical. It requires a lot of very detailed knowledge and constant, staying on top of staying knowledgeable on all of the changes and things. So I think it really is just what you're interested in.
Same. My very first job out of school was as a coder. In the hospital where I was, we had productivity standards, and I could not be productive because I'd be right up in the computer like this, like, what happened? Huh? I couldn't stay on because I would get too distracted trying to code, and so I learned that it just was not. It wasn't a good fit for me. Now, what I did learn is that my love for technology and helping people to learn how to use technology is how I got into EHR implementation. Because of my first job, I was in hardware and software deployment in a clinic. And what I did was I had my little cart and I would take the little laptop or computer, I'd set it up for them, I'd download the software, and I would teach them how to use it. And that's where I discovered my love for learning about the EHR. I would do the maintenance on it. I needed the updates and everything. And so that's kind of how I discovered and decided to focus on that discipline. Now, how I switched over to education was throughout my training. I loved being there with the people to teach them how to do their job, but then I wanted to learn how to give them that foundation that made them learning to do the job even easier. So that's how I ended up transitioning into education. But yeah, my attention span, like I would be, so what now? What happened? Like, I don't understand. Like, we skipped a step. What? So my productivity was terrible.
Plus, you have to be really patient to be a teacher too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Somewhere that was missed in my genes.
But my students that are on here, they'll tell you that Dr. Agnew is a joy. Sometimes.
Okay, next question. From Natalie at Dr. Jasmine Agnew. What certification would you suggest taking with a degree in informatics or analytics?
All right. So the first thing that I'm always going to advise you to do is take advantage of our micro-credential. Take that health data literacy micro-credential. See if that is where you want to go, because then it's going to take you investing in getting the experience and the study guides to sit for the CHDA. The CHDA is very intense, but you have to make sure that you are ready for it. Now, there are some other certifications, and when they are aligned with where you want to go in the industry. But for AHIMA, absolutely start with that health data literacy. See if that is what you want to do. It's a smaller investment, and if that is what you want to do, then invest in the study guides, the study materials to go and take the full credential. The micro credential, if you're a student member, I think it's like $99. If you're not a member, it's $129. But the full test is a little bit more expensive than that. So you don't have to stay out of Starbucks for a couple of days, about 2 weeks, and then take that and pay for your micro credential, and then figure out that's really what you want to do.
Thank you. Okay, let's go to the next question.
Hey, Jared.
From Danielle, what's the best position when graduating out of HIM to get your feet wet? Data analytics.
Patient access.
Yeah. Rev cycle starts in patient access. That's a great one. I mean, data analytics is really awesome. I said this at the AHIMA 24 at our we had a little Q&A session with some of the CA leaders, and your state hospital association, they all collect data, and whether it's mandatory, like in the state of Wisconsin where I live, or voluntary, your state collects data. And there are opportunities for you to really get involved with working with that data and helping your hospitals and health systems in your state use that data to improve the health of your communities and ultimately your state. So that's just something, I sort of found by accident. And how did I find that? I volunteered when I was working at the hospital I was in. Our state hospital association had a data advisory committee. I volunteered to sit on it. because I say yes to everything. That's sort of one of my downfalls. But that led to me knowing about that. And then when that position opened, I applied for it and got it. So guess what I'm trying to say is just outside of where you would normally think that, oh, I want to work with health data, I have to work in a hospital or have to work in a health system. No, there's a lot of places where you can work with health data. And volunteering helps you sometimes open your eyes to these different opportunities that you may not know about.
Thank you for that advice. Before we
All my
end
state
our
hospital association peers are going to be like, why are you sending all these people to me?
I'm sure they'll appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great.
For
It's a great opportunity.
Before we end our Q&A session, I want to give you both of you an opportunity to share any additional words of wisdom or any advice that you would like to share with those who are either emerging professionals and students just getting into the profession, those who are second careerists, just any type of advice that you think that would be good tips to help them and as they go through their career pathway. I will start with Dr. Agnew.
Your learning does not end once you walk across the stage or when you get your certification. That's just the beginning. It opens up doors for you to move into the profession and into the field. And when you graduate, your certification is a mark of your expertise. But it is your continued learning, your personal and professional development that makes you a step above and it helps you rise above the rest. Health information is one of those professions that we are highly skilled. We know how to do a lot of things. Everything from telling you how to put a clinical decision support notification in the system to tell a person that a diabetic patient can't eat certain things on the menu. Who do you think is the person that has the knowledge to do that? It's us. We have to reclaim our position as being experts and the bearers and the conduit between patient data, positive patient outcomes, expert clinical research, and evidence-based practice that can be used to improve healthcare across the spectrum. Our knowledge is for health information and beyond, but you have to know and understand your worth and your value as a health information professional. Because if you don't see it, employers won't see it either. I can sell myself, and I want you to learn how to sell yourself too. I want you to learn how to sell that skill set. And when people talk to you about what you know how to do in HIM, be confident in telling them, this is what I know how to do, this is what I love, and this is how I can be a tremendous asset to your organization. So the work never stops. Understand and recognize your value and always keep learning.
Yep. And I literally was going to say, don't sell yourself short. You need to understand that there are so many opportunities in this profession, as demonstrated by not only the people in the chat, but hopefully with some of my examples and Jasmine's examples. And I always tell people the best way to get experience is to say yes. So when you have an opportunity to volunteer in a work group or you have an opportunity to attend a certain event, say yes, because you never know what could come out of that. You're going to meet somebody, you're going to hear about something, you're going to exchange business cards, and you're going to follow up. And that is where you learn. That's where you learn about opportunities. And along with that, going back to what I said earlier about these soft skills, be confident, be out there. I know a lot of us in health information, we are tend to be introverted. Well, in those opportunities, we need to dig in and be more extroverted and be confident and be someone that someone wants to hire and someone can, okay, I can trust that person. I can count on that person. Yeah, I want that person leading my initiative, my organization, whatever. So those are just some things. I mean, obviously the skills and experience that come along with being a health information professional, yeah, that will all come. But I think just getting in the door is what is the big thing for people. And that is going to come with who you know.
Wonderful. Thank you both so much for this robust and informative Q&A session. Your insights have given all of us a clearer understanding of career development opportunities, those pathways and certifications through AHIMA and available in health information. Of course, we're grateful for your expertise and for sharing so much valuable information today. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to reach out to our member relations service at ahima.org for assistance. That email address will be placed in the chat. So, of course, thank you again to both of you.
You're welcome. And feel free to link me on LinkedIn, and I'm sure Dr. Agnew too. Just reach out to us anywhere.
Yes. So as we go to wrap up, I want to extend a huge thank you to everyone for attending a conversation with AHIMA Fellows. Thank you to all of our panelists and our speakers. And we hope this event has provided you with new insights and encouragement as you continue your own career path in health information. Please save the date for our upcoming member exclusive AHIMA member town hall on December 10th. This event will offer a chance to connect directly with AHIMA leadership, ask questions, and get updates on trends and priorities in the HI profession. On the screen, you will see a QR code to register, and then we'll also place the town hall registration link in the chat for easy access. We encourage you to sign up and join us for what will be a valuable and engaging session. Lastly, before we go, we would appreciate if you could complete the post-event survey. The link will be placed in the chat, and you'll receive the information in the event follow-up email as well. Your feedback helps us improve future events, and we want to know how we can continue to support you in your health information journey. Thank you once again to all of our participants and everyone for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you at future AHIMA events. Outside of that, everyone enjoy the rest of your evening.